How we doing, PML? It's Mally Rojo, the Texans user, here with the first rookie watch for Season 2, Week 1. A lot of exciting games this week, but let's jump right in and check out these rookies. Gonna do it like I did last year. We'll count them down 5 to 1. Gonna pick 5. It's mostly offensive this week. A lot of offensive action. We did have one defensive guy that stood out. There was some other good defensive guys, but just nothing stand out compared to these offensive players that had some giant games this week. We had a lot of breakout dudes. So let's jump into it. For number 5, we are going to head right here to Bengals versus Giants, where we have the quarterback from the Cincinnati Bengals, drafted from Virginia College, put up 371, 4 touchdowns. He did have 3 interceptions, but he played against a good defense. And in PML, sometimes the interception to touchdown ratio, it's going to be close. A lot of the times there's a lot of good users. So putting up 371 and still having 4 touchdowns against a good user like the natural, that's still a solid performance, even though he did lose. But we wanted to show him some love because he did have a pretty nice game overall with a 109.7 rating. And then over here you'll see he completed 66% of his passes, had 18 completions out of 27 attempts. He did get a little bit of rushing action too. We know Bengals likes to run that option offense. He had 3 rushes for 19 yards, so nothing crazy, but 6.3, not bad, especially considering that was his best average there, because he could not run the ball at all. As you can see, Joe Mixon had 9 rushes for 2 yards, so the quarterback was the only one getting it done. He did have a fumble there, it looks like. I don't know if he lost that. I didn't see that one, and they don't show you on these stats, but overall he had a solid performance against a good defensive user. So props to Bryce Perkins, and we'll see how he does the rest of the year. And we'll move on to number 4. Oops, I went too far. So for our number 4 guy, we're going to go to... This here is going to be our one defensive guy. And head over to the Chicago Bears-Panthers game. Head over to the defensive side, where Official Mole had his middle linebacker Davion Taylor have a really solid game with 8 tackles. He had 2 tackles for loss. He had one big play that was an interception that he took 63 yards, and that did end up being a touchdown, as you can see here. So he did have a big play there to put some points on the board. He was one of the standout defensive players of the week. We did have some other guys kind of in that range of 8 tackles and a few tackles for loss, but he was the only one that had a big play like that with an interception that he took for a touchdown. So we're going to throw him up there, show the defense some love there at number 4. We know Mole's a great user, so we should expect big things from Davion Taylor for the rest of the year. He could even make a defensive rookie of the year run. So keep an eye out on him, and watch where he's at when you're on the field, because throw to him, it's probably going to be an interception. So just go away. Just go away from him. Let's check out number 3. Right here is where we it takes over as the Denver show, the Denver Broncos show. We know last year, a lot of the times with Noah Fant and when Emmanuel Hall was healthy, they took it over. We know Denver, he likes to fall in over there at Denver. He likes to feed those young guys, those rookies, and he's doing that again this year, as we'll see with our number 3. Let's find this Broncos-Bills game. High-scoring affair there. He did lose the game, but they both put up nearly 500 yards of offense, so there's bound to be some guys that stood out. And there he is. Number 3, Henry Ruggs III from Alabama College. 6 receptions, 147 yards, and 1 touchdown. So big plays there. 24.5 average. The rack was 56, so a lot of bombs to that guy. Not a ton of rack yards when you're putting up 147. But yeah, big plays from him, and we expect that from Fallen. He loves to feed those young guys and get them better and better throughout the year, and he'll keep feeding them, and next year they'll be Rookie of the Year usually. So, and then number 2, we're gonna pop off this for a minute because we do have one other guy on a different team. We're gonna head to the Seahawks-Eagles game, where the Seahawks had his running back, DeAndre Swift. He is a running back, but where he really showed up was the receiving here. I didn't mean to go to the receiving first, but here we are, so let's just check it out. He had 9 receptions for 139 yards and a touchdown. So he made a big impact in the passing game as a running back. And as we can see here, not as impressive in the running game, only 3.5, but he still went for 46 and a touchdown, and he had that huge day in the passing. I didn't get to check out this game, so I don't really know how he's using him out of the backfield or in the passing, but man, that's a huge game, so look out for him as a passing back coming out of the backfield. He can run the ball and catch the ball apparently, so we're looking out for him. And lastly, we are going to go back to the Broncos game to check out our number 1. There it is. Here we have Denver's halfback, Jonathan Taylor, who on only 8 attempts took it for 200 yards and 4 touchdowns for an average of 25 yards per game. That's insane. That's a ton of production on just 8 carries, and it looks like he didn't really run the ball a lot. Only the 8 carries for him, and then it looks like Philip Lindsay had 1, and that's it. And it looks like now we know why Philip Lindsay is on the trading block with Jonathan Taylor in his short work just dominating. I don't know why he didn't run the ball more if he was running it that well, but it seems like maybe it was a high-scoring game, so maybe he got behind the Bills early. He felt like he could only run every once in a while, and when he did, he made it count. But it seems like with that production, you would have just wanted to keep riding Jonathan Taylor that whole game. Did he get any receiving? Let's check that out. No, and he didn't get any receiving work, so yeah. But man, he really made it count and showed up when he was on the field and running the ball. So that'll be scary. That'll be scary to face coming up against the Broncos and Fallen. We know he loves to feed those rookies. We mentioned that earlier, so we'll look to see that continue with this halfback, Jonathan Taylor. See how crazy he goes when he gets more than 8 carries. And look out for his wide receiver, too. We saw him at number 3, so he's going to be doing crazy things all year. Could make either one of these guys, him or his wide receiver, could make a run for Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. So be watching those guys when you play him because he likes to feed those youngins. Alright guys, well that was it for week 1. There was a lot of great games this week. Really enjoyed watching the ones that I was able to watch. I know you guys all enjoyed it too. I heard it in the chat. We'll see you next week with week 2 of the Rookie Watch. Peace.